Good morning, and welcome to Understanding Your Retirement Benefit Options. Before we get to the main presentation, let's take care of some housekeeping items. To provide you with a future reference and make your note-taking easier, we've provided a presentation learning guide. You'll see the link to the learning guide in the YouTube description box. Please note that due to the large number of participants, although the chat feature is active, we won't be able to respond to member questions during this presentation. If you have any questions, please contact us directly. In today's presentation, we'll discuss retirement eligibility and how to generate an estimate, and then we'll go through the retirement options. Let's briefly discuss retirement eligibility. To retire, you must meet two requirements. First is the minimum retirement age. You must be age 50, age 52 if hired after January 1, 2013, or age 55 if you're a state second-tier member. The minimum service credit required for retirement is 5 years, or 10 years for state of California second-tier members. If you have less than the minimum number of service credit years, and you don't anticipate working additional years, you may still be eligible to retire if any of the following apply to you. If you're a CalPERS member who is also a member of a reciprocal retirement system, you are eligible to retire from CalPERS without meeting the CalPERS minimum service credit requirement, but you must still meet the minimum age requirement. You can visit the reciprocity page on our website and read the When You Change Retirement Systems for information regarding reciprocity if you have a membership in another California retirement system. We also have a video called When You Change Retirement Systems that can provide more information about reciprocity. If you worked as a permanent part-time employee for at least 5 calendar years, or 10 years if you're a state of California second-tier member, you may qualify for a part-time conversion under Government Code Section 20970. If you're an active member and think this applies to you, contact us. If you're an inactive member, complete the estimate letter request process through your myCalPERS account. If you believe you are eligible to purchase additional service credit, enabling you to meet the service credit requirement, submit a request for service credit cost information through your myCalPERS account. Refer to the service credit webpage on our website for more information regarding available service credit types. You can also read our publication, Service Credit Purchase Options. For more information about retirement eligibility, you can read Publication 1, Planning Your Service Retirement, and take our Planning Your Retirement class. Now that we've talked about the basics of retirement eligibility, let's discuss how to generate a retirement estimate. You have two options for generating retirement estimates, online in your myCalPERS account or via the Retirement Allowance Estimate Request form. Log into myCalPERS to use the Retirement Estimate Calculator, which provides an estimate based on information you provide in addition to data your employer reported to us. Remember, this is just an estimate. Your actual retirement benefit is determined when you apply for retirement. The calculator is mostly used for service retirement and provides you an allowance based on the retirement date and option you select. The calculator can't be used if you're retiring under a disability or industrial disability, you are a retired member who reinstated, or you've accrued service as a local elected or appointed official. You must complete and submit the Retirement Allowance Estimate Request form if any of these options apply to you. If you have a pending community property case and have an acceptable filed court order for a time rule division on file, then you must use the Community Property Retirement Allowance Estimate Request form. Once logged into myCalPERS, your homepage provides your CalPERS account summary. Within the retirement box, if you're eligible to retire, the first thing you'll see is your estimated unmodified allowance. This figure is system generated based on your earliest retirement date. If you're not yet eligible to retire, for example, if you are age 45, then you will not see this estimated unmodified allowance, but will instead see the years until your estimated earliest retirement date. In this case, the member is already eligible for retirement, so the amount shown is based on the date this page was opened. There are a couple of ways that you can get to the retirement estimate calculator. You can use the retirement drop-down and select retirement estimate calculator, or you can select the calculate a retirement estimate link found in the retirement box. Now let's meet John. John is a CalPERS member planning for retirement. To help him decide which option is best for him, he runs a retirement estimate through his myCalPERS account, which provides him an estimated dollar amount for each available option. In a moment, we'll review his estimate in detail to show you how the options work, but first we're going to introduce you to the retirement estimate calculator. Before running an estimate, it's a good idea to review the Planning Your Service Retirement publication, which covers how to plan and prepare for your service retirement. To get started on your estimate, select the Start a New Estimate button. There are 3 different ways to select a retirement date. You can select the earliest estimated retirement date. If you are over the minimum requirements for retirement already, it will automatically select the current date. You can choose your age based on whole or quarter-year increments, or you can choose a specific date. In this example, John is choosing to retire on a specific date, September 1, 2024. Note that over on the right-hand side of the screen, there's the Steps section, which highlights where you are in the process of completing your estimate. In the Monthly Final Compensation field, myCalPERS may display an estimated final compensation amount based on your posted payroll history. Final compensation is your highest average monthly salary during any consecutive 12 or 36-month period of employment. It may include any eligible special compensation. However, the system will not project special compensation forward when requesting a future retirement date. In addition, the displayed amount may include a reduction of final compensation due to limits established by the California Public Employees Pension Reform Act of 2013 or Section 401A-17 of the Internal Revenue Code. myCalPERS will only project your base pay rate when requesting a future retirement date. If you receive special compensation that your employer reports to CalPERS, or if you anticipate a future salary increase, you can adjust the monthly final compensation amount to use in the calculation of your estimate. It's very important to know that your actual final compensation amount is determined by CalPERS after you formally apply for retirement. If you manually enter a final compensation amount and you have more than one final compensation type, such as Classic, PEPRA, 1 year, 3 year, etc., then this estimate may not accurately reflect your final compensation per employer, which may overstate your estimated benefit. In addition, your final compensation cannot exceed the compensation limits. Any reported special compensation must comply with the California Code of Regulations Section 571A and B and is subject to review at the time of retirement. In the next field, you'll select your current work status. You may be full-time, part-time, or no longer employed by a CalPERS-covered employer. When selecting part-time, myCalPERS will prompt you to input the hours you work per week and the month's work per year. Answering full-time or part-time will help us estimate how many years of service you may have once you reach your estimated retirement date. John is choosing the option for full-time employee. On the next page, you can identify if you want to include unused sick leave in your estimate and provide the number of hours you anticipate having at the time of retirement. State and school members are eligible to have sick leave converted into service credit, while public agencies must contract for the benefit. If your employer doesn't contract for sick leave conversion, this page will not appear. In order to qualify, your retirement and separation dates must be within 120 days of each other. Upon retirement, your employer will report your unused sick leave hours to us. All other leave types should not be included in the hours you provide. myCalPERS displays the maximum number of hours allowed and will notify you if you exceed the calculated limit based on information in the system. John selects yes because he has 200 hours of unused sick leave that he wishes to have calculated into his estimate. This next page is where you choose to include a survivor. In John's case, his employer contracts for survivor continuance, and he has been married to his wife for over a year, making her an eligible survivor. If your employer doesn't contract for survivor continuance, you won't see this page. We'll discuss survivor continuance in more detail later in the presentation. John selects yes. Within the beneficiaries section, you'll choose whether you want to leave a monthly benefit to someone upon your death. A beneficiary is a person you identify to receive a monthly payment after your death. Your monthly benefit payment is based on both your and your beneficiary's life expectancy at retirement. Your beneficiary options are none, 1, 2, or more. If you choose not to list a beneficiary, your estimate will only reflect the unmodified allowance and return of contributions option. Choosing the 2 or more beneficiaries option requires that you enter either the percentage or dollar amount you want to provide to each beneficiary. You'll also have to provide each beneficiary's date of birth. John has only one beneficiary, so he selects that option. Under the individual beneficiary's date of birth, John enters his wife's date of birth. The younger your beneficiary for a monthly benefit is, the greater the reduction you'll have to take to your pension to fund their benefit. There are some additional options. Flexible beneficiary option is for a customized lifetime benefit upon your death. You can choose to leave a specific percentage or choose a dollar amount. This section is not required when choosing to list a beneficiary. When filling out this section, you can provide the percentage amount, dollar amount, or both. Upon generating your estimate, you'll see all your retirement options, including both flexible option choices. John enters 25% and $500 as he wants to see what the difference may be between the two. To complete your estimate, select Calculate Your Estimate button. This brings you to the Estimate Results page. This page provides your various standard options in retirement, which include your monthly benefit amount, potential payments made to your beneficiary upon your death, as well as the amount you may receive if your beneficiary predeceases you. We'll cover all the sections displayed on this page and explain the options available to you shortly. Within the Estimate Results screen, myCalPERS provides 5 different options to see how retiring later will affect your retirement benefit. You can select 6 months or 1 to 4 years. Once you make your selection, you will select the View button. The page will refresh and update with your new benefit amounts. Scrolling further down the estimate results page will provide the amounts for you and your beneficiary if you chose the flexible beneficiary options. Towards the bottom of the estimates results screen, you can choose to view your calculation details, which lists the information used in your calculation. You can save your estimate scenario and provide it a name, or start over by recalculating your estimate. If you're within 1 year of your expected retirement date, you can request an estimate letter through your myCalPERS account, which provides a more customized estimate of your potential CalPERS retirement benefit amounts. With this letter, you can include a temporary annuity, educational leave, or a reciprocal system. These estimates will use your current account information to project your benefit as of your estimated retirement date. You may request up to 2 CalPERS calculated estimate letters in a 12-month period. This also applies if you have a non-member account or less than 5 years of service credit and have established reciprocity with another California retirement system. Scroll further down the estimate results page to find the Request an Estimate Letter section. You can select the Start Estimate Letter Request button to begin. If the estimate you just ran is for a date that's more than a year away, you'll receive an error message that the request will not be processed. To generate a letter, you'll need to choose an earlier retirement date. Now that we've gone through how to get an estimate, let's cover your retirement options. Before we go into numbers, there are some terms we need to define so you can understand how the options work. For many of us, the terms beneficiary and survivor sound like the same thing, but at CalPERS they actually have 2 distinct meanings, and it's important to understand the difference. A beneficiary can be anyone you choose to receive a lump sum or lifetime benefit and is not set by law. It's important to note that if you are married or in a registered domestic partnership but do not name your spouse or partner as your beneficiary, they may still be entitled to a community property share of your retirement no matter who you name as a beneficiary. Now, you do not choose your survivor. State law determines who, if anyone, is eligible to receive survivor continuance benefits. The survivor and beneficiary can be the same person, and often are, but they don't have to be. Let's explain a little bit about the survivor continuance benefit. Survivor continuance is a monthly benefit paid after your death in retirement to an eligible survivor. Your employer pays for this benefit, so it does not cost you anything. Survivor continuance is provided by law to all state and school members. If you work for a public agency, your employer must contract for this benefit. For a survivor benefit to be paid, not only does your employer have to contract for the benefit, but you must also have an eligible survivor. Even if your employer contracts for the benefit, if you have no eligible survivor at the time of your death and retirement, then no survivor continuance benefit is paid. Eligible survivors, as defined by law, are: first is a spouse or registered domestic partner, as long as the marriage or partnership became effective at least 1 year prior to your retirement date and is continuous until your death. If you retire on a disability or industrial disability retirement, then the 1-year requirement is waived. If there is no spouse or registered domestic partner, then unmarried children under age 18 would receive the benefit until they turn 18. Next would be an unmarried child who became disabled prior to age 18 and whose continuing disability renders them incapable of holding a job. The benefit would end if they get married, become gainfully employed, or are no longer disabled. Last on the list is a parent who is economically dependent upon you for at least 50% of their support. If you don't have any of the persons listed, then the benefit is not paid to anyone. The amount your survivor would receive is based on whether or not you contribute to Social Security during your CalPERS career. If you contribute to Social Security, then your survivor will receive 25% of the unmodified allowance after your death and retirement. If you do not contribute to Social Security, your survivor will receive 50% of the unmodified allowance. We'll explain what the unmodified allowance is in a little bit. The amount your survivor receives upon your death is the same no matter what retirement option you choose or whom you name as a beneficiary. Now that we understand what survivors and beneficiaries are, we'll cover the retirement payment options. The option you choose determines what benefits your beneficiary receives after your death and retirement. You must select a payment option when you submit your retirement application. Except for the unmodified allowance, all other payment options require a reduction in your retirement income in order to provide a benefit to someone else. This reduction for a lifetime monthly benefit is based on actuarial factors based on the age for both you and your beneficiary at the time of your retirement. The younger your beneficiary, the greater the reduction to your pension to fund their benefit. We'll come back to that idea in just a little bit. Which option you choose is one of the most important decisions you'll make when you complete your retirement application. Please note that the amount on your retirement estimate will differ from what you're about to see here. It's important that you generate estimates to see your own amounts. Also, estimates do not include any deductions, such as taxes, health or dental premiums, union dues, or any other types of deductions. So let's get back to John's estimate, beginning with the unmodified allowance. The unmodified allowance provides the highest monthly allowance paid for life. For John, the unmodified allowance pays $4,678 a month for the rest of his life. With this option, there are no benefits paid out to a beneficiary. Because John's employer contracts for survivor continuance and he has an eligible survivor, his estimate shows a survivor continuance amount. Because he paid into Social Security during his career, the amount is 25% of his unmodified allowance, which equals $1,169. You'll notice that this amount will stay the same regardless of the option. The return of remaining contributions option 1 provides an allowance that's slightly lower than the unmodified allowance. In this example, it's $4,625 instead of $4,678. Upon your death, any unused member contributions in your account will be paid to your beneficiary or beneficiaries in a one-time lump sum payment. There is no monthly amount paid to a beneficiary under this option. Your contributions are paid out to you as a portion of your allowance over approximately the first 9 to 13 years of retirement. John's total contributions are $208,733.14. Every month that he receives his retirement allowance, this amount will be reduced by about $1,433.36. His contributions will be reduced to zero in approximately 11.73 years. This point occasionally causes some worry amongst our members. They look at their estimate and see the line, "Your contributions will be reduced to zero," and they think that means their pension will stop. It doesn't. Your CalPERS pension is a lifetime benefit. Once your contributions have been paid out, the difference is picked up by employer contributions and CalPERS investment returns, so your pension continues and the amount doesn't change. The remaining options we'll cover provide a lifetime monthly income to your beneficiary. Since John's beneficiary, his wife, is also his survivor, she receives the amount listed under both for your beneficiary after your death and for your survivor after your death. Let's begin with the 100% beneficiary option 2. With this option, you'll see that John takes a reduction from his unmodified allowance of $4,678 down to $4,287. If John dies first, his wife receives the exact same amount John did while he was alive. By adding the $3,118 beneficiary amount and the survivor continuance amounts together, it equals the same amount John was receiving, $4,287. If both you and your monthly beneficiary die before all of your contributions have been returned to you, the remaining amount would be paid out in a one-time lump sum to your secondary beneficiaries. Next is the 100% beneficiary option 2 with benefit allowance increased. If John's wife predeceases him, his benefit will increase to the unmodified allowance of $4,678. If John dies first, his wife's income doesn't change from the amount he was receiving while alive. Adding the $3,058 beneficiary amount and the survivor amount together, it equals the same amount John was receiving, $4,228. This option does not allow a return of contributions if both you and your lifetime beneficiary pass away. Remember earlier we said that the younger your beneficiary is, the more of a reduction that you will take to your monthly allowance? The previous example was for John and his wife, who is a year younger. Based on the slides we just covered, the 100% beneficiary option would provide a monthly allowance of $4,287. By selecting to pay a beneficiary at the time of his death, John's unmodified allowance of $4,678 is reduced by approximately $400. But say John wasn't married, but had a young grandchild he wanted to leave a monthly allowance to. By naming his grandchild, John would take a reduction of over $1,500, reducing his pension to approximately $3,136. Remember, this is a lifetime allowance, so upon John's death, his grandchild would receive this for the rest of their life. So let's move on to John's next option. Suppose he wants to leave his wife a monthly income after he passes away, but the reduction to his pension under the 100% options is too high. They need more money while he's alive, and his wife can get by with less after he passes away. Perhaps she has her own retirement income. One of the 50% beneficiary options may meet this need. The 50% beneficiary option 3 pays more than the $4,287 we covered under the 100% option, in this case $4,468, because he is choosing to provide a lower amount to his wife if he dies first. In this case, $1,649 a month, which is a bit more than half of what John had received while alive. Remember, she's getting both the beneficiary and survivor amounts. If you don't have survivor continuance or an eligible survivor, it would be an even 50% for your beneficiary. If both you and your monthly beneficiary die before all of your contributions have been returned to you, the remaining amount would be paid out in a one-time lump sum to your secondary beneficiaries. The 50% beneficiary option 3 with benefit allowance increase option pays him $4,437 while alive, but his wife would receive less if he should pass away. In this example, the beneficiary portion is $1,634. With the survivor continuance, that comes to $2,803 for John's wife. If she should pass away first, John will increase up to the unmodified allowance. Finally, the flexible beneficiary option 4 allows you to designate a specific percentage or a specific dollar amount to a beneficiary. For this option, you can name one or more beneficiaries. In this example, John provided 25% of his benefit to his wife, which equals $1,337. To provide this amount to his wife, his amount is reduced from the unmodified allowance to $4,512. Leaving the specific dollar amount of $500 to his wife would reduce his monthly amount to $4,616. Remember, choosing an option is one of the most important things you'll do when you submit your retirement application. I have a few next steps you'll want to take. It's important to generate your own retirement estimates. The online retirement calculator allows you to estimate different scenarios, different retirement dates, different beneficiaries, and more. And there's no limit to the number of estimates you can create online. You should look at the entire income you'll have for retirement and know what you wish to provide for your beneficiary if you should predecease them. For example, some people may also receive a Social Security benefit or a payout from another employer-sponsored retirement savings account in addition to their CalPERS pension, while others may not. You should also review the Planning Your Service Retirement publication for more information about getting ready to retire. To gain a better overall understanding of your CalPERS benefit and get your questions answered, you can sign up for an instructor-led class that's offered virtually or in person at one of our regional office locations. You can enroll through your myCalPERS account under the Education tab. Before we end, I want to tell you that this presentation, like our previous presentations, is available as a video on our YouTube channel. Access our YouTube channel through our website, www.calpers.ca.gov, or directly on the YouTube website at www.youtube.com/calpers. Our presentation today was intended to provide you with information about your retirement estimate and the retirement options available to you. Please note that CalPERS is governed by the Public Employees Retirement Law. The information in this presentation is general. The retirement law is complex and subject to change. If there is a conflict between the law and the information presented in this presentation, all decisions will be based on the law. Later today, you'll receive an email with a short evaluation. Please answer all of the questions. It's important for us to get your feedback to help us improve these presentations. Thank you for taking time out of your day to attend this presentation, and have a great day.